Imagine standing on a battlefield, the air thick with tension, enemy banners flapping violently in the wind, and the sound of thousands of armored soldiers preparing to crush you. Most warlords in this moment would hesitate, panic, or attempt a cautious retreat. But Oda Nobunaga did none of that. At just 25 years old, facing forces vastly superior in number and experience, he remained perfectly calm, his mind sharper than any blade around him. What made him different was not brute strength or luck, it was his mindset. A discipline so precise and unyielding that it allowed him to turn near-certain defeat into a legendary victory. Nobunaga's approach to life and war was ruthlessly strategic. Every decision, every movement, every alliance was calculated with clarity of purpose. He studied human behavior, understood the patterns of conflict, and trained his mind to act decisively without being clouded by fear or indecision. Today, we will dive deep into the mindset of this extraordinary warlord, exploring the mental frameworks, the unshakable focus, and the ruthless clarity that allowed him to conquer Japan. From his early years of learning and observation to the battlefield strategies that shocked entire armies, and the innovative thinking that set him apart from every other leader of his time, you'll discover how Oda Nobunaga's discipline was not just a tool for war, it was a philosophy of mastery. By the end of this video, you won't just know history. You'll understand the principles behind the mind of a man whose clarity, decisiveness, and relentless focus can still teach us lessons about discipline, strategy, and achieving greatness in any endeavor. Part 1. Early Life and Formation of Discipline. Oda Nobunaga was born in 1534 into a time of constant upheaval in Japan. The country was fractured, with powerful clans vying for control and betrayal lurking around every corner. From an early age, Nobunaga experienced the harsh realities of this world. Unlike many of his peers, who relied on brute strength, lineage, or fleeting luck, Nobunaga developed a mind that was sharp, analytical, and disciplined. Even as a young boy, he observed the dynamics of power and conflict, understanding that survival depended not only on weapons but also on strategy and foresight. He studied the movements of rival clans, the ambitions of allies, and the weaknesses of those in power. He read extensively, absorbing lessons from history, military manuals, and philosophical texts, constantly training his mind to anticipate outcomes and weigh consequences. By his teenage years, Nobunaga displayed a unique combination of boldness and focus. Where others hesitated, he acted with a clarity that was unsettling to those around him. He cultivated an early sense of self-discipline, practicing restraint and detachment from emotion while simultaneously sharpening his decisiveness. Every action he took was measured, and he learned to distinguish between what demanded immediate attention and what could be strategically delayed. When he inherited his family's domain, he faced skepticism from allies and subordinates. Many doubted his youth, inexperience, and unconventional methods. Yet Nobunaga's mental preparation and discipline gave him an edge over older, more experienced rivals. One of the key lessons from Nobunaga's early life is that discipline begins in the mind. It is not simply about following orders or maintaining routines. It's the ability to assess, analyze, and act with precision. Nobunaga's youth shows us that cultivating awareness, focus, and self-control lays the foundation for extraordinary achievements. Even in chaos, a trained mind can find clarity. This mental framework allowed Nobunaga to approach leadership, alliances, and conflict with a strategic lens that would define his rise to power. The ability to act decisively, suppress impulsive reactions, and prioritize objectives became the hallmark of his leadership style and would later manifest in his legendary victories on the battlefield. Part 2. Strategic Mindset in Battles. Nobunaga's genius emerged most clearly in the heat of battle, where his discipline and strategic thinking became his deadliest weapons. The Battle of Okayama in 1560 exemplifies this mindset. Nobunaga faced an enemy army 3 times the size of his own. Most commanders would have fortified their positions or attempted a cautious retreat, yet Nobunaga did something unexpected. He struck with precision and timing, exploiting both the terrain and the overconfidence of his adversaries. His calm, analytical approach transformed a potential disaster into a historic victory, earning him recognition as one of Japan's most formidable warlords. Disciplined on the battlefield, as Nobunaga demonstrated, is not about mindless obedience, it is about calculated preparation, anticipation, and composure under pressure. He trained himself to remain emotionally detached, ensuring that fear, anger, or uncertainty never clouded his judgment. Another significant example is the Battle of Nagashino in 1575. Nobunaga utilized firearms strategically, coordinating them with traditional samurai cavalry to devastating effect. This was revolutionary. It combined innovation with rigorous planning, demonstrating that disciplined minds embrace new ideas to achieve precise objectives. Nobunaga's approach to strategy reveals several critical principles of mental discipline. First, clarity of purpose is essential. Every decision must be guided by a clear objective. Second, situational awareness allows leaders to exploit weaknesses and anticipate threats. Third, decisive action, executed with confidence and timing, can turn seemingly impossible odds into victories. These principles are not limited to war. They are applicable in business, personal development, and any scenario that requires strategic thinking. Nobunaga's battlefield discipline shows us that mastery of the mind is as important as mastery of technique or weaponry. Part 3. Ruthlessness as mental clarity. Oda Nobunaga's ruthlessness is legendary. Temples were destroyed, rivals were eliminated, and enemies were treated without mercy. While many view this as sheer cruelty, in reality, it was a reflection of his mental clarity and unwavering focus on objectives. Nobunaga understood that hesitation, sentimentality, and indecision could be fatal. Every action he took, no matter how harsh, was calculated to remove obstacles and streamline his path toward unification of Japan. His ruthlessness was not chaotic, it was discipline manifested in its most extreme form. The destruction of Mount Hiei's Inryakuji Temple is a prime example. Nobunaga knew the temple had amassed military power and political influence that could challenge his authority. Rather than negotiate endlessly or delay action, he made a decisive, ruthless move. It was shocking to many, but it exemplified a key principle. Discipline requires the courage to act decisively, even when it is uncomfortable. Nobunaga's ability to prioritize objectives over sentiment allowed him to maintain momentum, eliminate threats efficiently, and achieve long-term goals that others considered impossible. This ruthlessness also highlights the importance of focus. Nobunaga never allowed distractions, loyalty, conflicts, or indecision to derail his mission. His mind was trained to weigh outcomes, act swiftly, and maintain clarity, even amidst chaos. For modern viewers, the lesson is profound. Achieving mastery or success often requires hard decisions, unwavering focus, and the discipline to act without hesitation. Nobunaga's life teaches us that clarity and ruthlessness are not cruelty, they are tools for achieving extraordinary results when aligned with purpose. Part 4. Innovation and Adaptability Discipline, as Nobunaga demonstrated, is not rigidity, it is purposeful adaptability. He embraced innovation when others clung to tradition, integrating firearms into battle, redesigning castles for strategic advantage, and adopting foreign trade methods. Nobunaga understood that success depended on continuously evolving while maintaining a clear objective. This adaptability was calculated, not reckless. He assessed each innovation critically, ensuring it served his strategic goals. The introduction of firearms at Nagashino, for example, allowed him to overcome traditional samurai advantages and create a disciplined, coordinated force capable of extraordinary precision. Nobunaga's innovations highlight a key lesson. Discipline is not static. It is the ability to analyze, adapt, and apply principles intelligently to achieve maximum impact. In life, disciplined minds are flexible yet focused. They do not cling blindly to old habits or traditions. They assess, experiment, and implement what works. Nobunaga's example teaches that mastery involves both structure and adaptability. By maintaining clarity of purpose while embracing new methods, he amplified his effectiveness, achieving feats that others deemed impossible. His adaptability underlines that discipline is about intentional action, guided by a clear vision, not mere adherence to rules. Part 5. Legacy and Lessons for Life. Oda Nobunaga's life ended in betrayal at Hannoji in 1582, yet his legacy endured. He laid the foundation for Japan's unification, inspired future leaders, and left a blueprint of mental discipline and strategic clarity. His life demonstrates that mastery is not about avoiding risk or seeking comfort. It is about cultivating focus, making difficult decisions, and executing with precision. The lessons from Nobunaga's mindset are timeless. First, clarity of purpose is essential. Know your goals and prioritize relentlessly. Second, mental preparation and strategic observation are as important as skill or strength. Third, decisive action, even when difficult or unpopular, is critical to overcoming obstacles. Finally, adaptability ensures that discipline is not rigid dogma but a living framework that responds intelligently to challenges. Applying these lessons today, whether in personal growth, career, or creative endeavors, transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. Nobunaga's path was dangerous, unpredictable, and filled with enemies. Yet his disciplined mind turned chaos into opportunity. By studying the mindset of Oda Nobunaga, we learn not just history, but the art of mastering ourselves, our decisions, and ultimately, our destiny. Discipline, clarity, courage, and adaptability, the four pillars that made a warlord unstoppable, can make anyone who applies them to their life unstoppable as well. As we reflect on the life of Oda Nobunaga, one lesson stands out above all. True mastery is born from clarity, discipline, and decisive action. Nobunaga conquered Japan not merely through armies or weapons, but through a mind honed to focus, analyze, and act with ruthless precision. His life shows that hesitation and distraction are the enemies of progress, and that unwavering commitment to a clear purpose can overcome even the greatest obstacles. The battles he fought, the innovations he embraced, and the risks he took all stemmed from a mindset that valued preparation, adaptability, and fearless execution above all else. For us, the takeaway is profound. Whether in our careers, personal growth, or creative pursuits, cultivating discipline, embracing clarity, and acting decisively transforms challenges into opportunities. Nobunaga's legacy is a timeless reminder that the greatest power lies not in the sword, but in a mind trained to master its by applying these principles. Anyone can become unstoppable in their own journey.